It's 8:05 is the time.
Waking up the Southeast. The Breakfast.
On Beat 102, 103.
Now, an area we haven't talked much about on the show before is the whole psychic powers arena, and whether it's a local psychic, whether it's a TV show, the likes of Most Haunted, which is probably Living TV's most popular show and certainly got huge viewership here across the region. But a lot of people are still very sceptical and very suspicious, and I suppose rightly so, and there's no proof for a lot of these so-called powers. And one man, Jon Donis, runs the website badpsychics.co.uk. He's had a look at many of the different types of psychic powers and mediums that are out there, and Jon is on the line to have a chat with us. Good morning, Jon.
Good morning.
How are you keeping?
I'm keeping very well, thank you.
Now, let's start a bit about you. I mean, why did you set up the website? What was your background in this whole area?
Well, quite simply, the whole idea of setting up the website was basically just to expose fraudulent psychics and mediums. I mean, I'd grown up as quite a big believer when I was younger, and the more I seemed to learn about the subject, the more I came across explanations of how psychics are actually doing the tricks. Eventually, you get to a point where it's becoming harder and harder to actually believe, so I decided to try and do something about it.
Do you believe in any kind of psychic ability?
Well, I used to, but now, I haven't actually seen any true evidence of psychic ability. I mean, I remain open-minded with regards to its existence, and, that's one of the reasons I do what I do, in the hope that one day I'll find the real psychic.
Looking at the TV shows and the TV schedules, they seem to be filled with an awful lot of programmes now dedicated to this whole arena, whether it be Most Haunted or Crossing Over and these kind of things. They're huge in terms of viewership. Why do you think people are so sucked into them?
Well, I suppose you could put it down to a few things. On one side, you have the obvious fascination with the paranormal that is very much in fashion right now, and also there are the people who watch these shows simply because they find them funny. It also helps if you have charismatic people like Derek Akora involved. They're easy to like. Even if you know what they're doing isn't real, you can still quite like them as a person. So that's always going to help the people who watch the show to enjoy it more. Simple as that, really.
And what about, on a kind of local level, the psychics that are operating, in your area, in my area, and they're coming around at fairs and carnivals and all the rest. Do you believe any of these guys would have powers, or do you think they could be exploiting vulnerable people?
I think it's much harder when it comes to local, small-time psychics, because, once I used to believe that all these people were simple, out-and-out frauds.
Yeah.
But now you actually get to speak to them and meet them, you realise that a lot of them genuinely believe what they're doing is real. Mm-hmm. You can put it down to the fact that maybe they're just simply deluded, or maybe they can justify what they're doing, that they believe that it's helping people. So they don't mind taking the money off people because they believe that they're doing something good. Yeah. But I think it does come down to the fact that not all these people are simple frauds like you see on the television. I think a lot of these local psychics are more genuine in their beliefs, but that doesn't really mean that what they're doing is real in any way.
One of the things that kind of depresses me a little is when I hear of, vulnerable people like the elderly or people who are at a low ebb in their lives and they're spending a fortune on phone lines ringing psychics.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, these people, they are vulnerable. They're looking for, a way to connect with somebody who's died, or maybe they're looking for someone to tell them what to do in their life. And it's very easy to become fascinated by somebody who apparently knows the future or can give you advice from your dead husband or something like that. So it becomes addictive, and that's when you have people spending, hundreds of pounds or thousands of pounds on these psychics, when realistically all they're doing is telling you what you want to hear.
Yeah. Looking at the website, badpsychics.co.uk, it seems Most Haunted is probably the biggest one for a bone of contention with you, Jon. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, you could say that, yeah. In the UK, that's pretty much the biggest show. So you always say that if you want to expose such things, you always go for the biggest dog in the yard. You go for people like Derek Akora or Most Haunted. But I think Most Haunted now it's on its last legs. I can't see it lasting much longer now, because I rarely come across anybody who believes that it's all genuine anymore. I think people have begun to see through the facade that's going on that show, to be honest.
Anyone out there who claims to have some form of psychic abilities that you actually admire or think, is spot on?
Well, I don't know if admire is the right word. I could say that I admire Derek Akora for turning what is basically an end of the pier act into a multi-million-pound business.
Yeah.
I admire I admire Uri Geller because he's a very charismatic person, and he's managed to turn 3 very simple magic tricks into, a 30-year career. So I suppose you could admire the people for what they've done with limited ability, but I wouldn't say I admire anybody for having real abilities, because nobody's yet to prove they've got any real abilities.
Okay, well, people can check out the website if they want to read up a little bit more, and you've got loads of case studies and interviews and all the rest up there about all the various different acts that are out there. It's badpsychics.co.uk. For now, John, thanks a million for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day. Cheers.
Waking up the Southeast. Beat Breakfast.
On Beat 102 103.